Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing Sephora holiday brush sets. And this year they came out with 3 sets. We have a face brush set, we have an eye brush set, and we have a mini eye brush set. Let's first take a look at this face brush set. This set is called Wishing You, and this is a 5-piece face brush set. This brush set retails for $35 US and 46 Canadian dollars. In here we get a foundation brush, powder brush, blush brush, a buffing brush, and a small concealer brush. Now this eye brush set is called Winter Wonderland, and we get 5 eye brushes in here. And this brush set retails for $25 US and 33 Canadian dollars. And in here we get a shadow brush, a crease brush, precision crease brush, smudge brush, and a liner brush. And this is Happy Holidays 4-piece mini eye brush set. In here we get crease brush, shadow brush, smudge brush, and a liner brush. The way I review brushes on my channel is I go through each brush individually, and then I'm going to be applying makeup using those brushes for those of you who would like to see how they perform. So let's get started, and we're going to start with the face brush set. As I mentioned before, there are 5 brushes in this set. So this is the foundation brush. It's extremely soft and always an amazing quality with those brush sets. I honestly look forward to those brush sets every year, and I did review them for the past 3 years. So size wise, as you can see, it's not too large, it's not too small. It's a very nice round shape. The density is perfect, just the way I like it. It's not too stiff, it's just perfect. Size wise, it's also very nice. It's not too big, it's not too small. It's a perfect brush. It feels amazing on the face. The next brush is a powder brush, and it looks like this. And it's a very soft brush, and it's pretty small. I'm thinking back about the previous years. The powder brush is usually much larger, so I'm always able to set my face with this and use it for a bronzer. Now looking at this one, can I use it for a bronzer? I definitely can. You could definitely use it for bronzer. You could set under your eyes with this, even though it's a tiny bit larger, but because it's very soft, you could set under your eyes, you could set your T-zone, but if you actually powder your whole face, it's a tiny bit too small for that purpose. I mean, you could still do it, it's just gonna take you more time. This is the next brush, and this is an angled blush brush. Also feels amazing. Sephora sets, every brush usually feels amazing. The shape is great. I in general love angled blush brushes. I just find that it's a perfect shape for the blush. You apply your blush, and if you need to buff it in, you could turn it and just brush it upwards to your temple. The next brush is a buffing brush, and this is like a mini foundation brush, but you could do a lot of things with this. You could probably use it for a concealer. You could powder around the nose with it. The density on this brush is pretty soft, so you could use it for a lot of things. You could contour with it if you contour. You could use it for many things around the face. In general, I like small face brushes because you could use them for so many different things around your face, and sometimes you need to get into the smaller areas around your face, like around your nose, if you want to go closer with a powder or concealer. So I do like this brush a lot. It reminds me of Morphe E8 brush, but it's much softer than the Morphe one. And the last brush is a concealer brush. If you don't use this kind of brushes for concealer, this is an amazing brush to apply any shimmer shadows, or if you ever apply glitter. It's just thin and firm. I love those brushes for the eyes. Let's move on to the eye brush set, and here we get light blue handles. So the first brush is a shadow brush, and this is just a nice regular crease brush. Then we have a crease brush, and this is a very nice size crease brush, and it's also very soft. Then we have a precision crease brush. I'm going to show you the size difference in between the two brushes. I think it's very nice that they gave us two crease brushes. So this is a smaller one, definitely for more precision, and also very nice and very soft. Then we get a smudge brush. You could use it under your lower lashes. You could use it for any small work that you want to do around your eye area. And the last brush is a liner brush. And it's a nice size liner brush, but I have few comments regarding that, but I'm going to be discussing it at the end of the video after I'll apply makeup using those brushes. And the last set are those 4 mini brushes. The truth is, I didn't realize they were mini. I really don't mind. I think sometimes, especially when you travel, it's so convenient to have them, or if you just want to throw it in your purse. I usually don't. I don't retouch my eye look during the day, but here they are. 4 brushes. I'll just show you the size comparison right here. So they're not very tiny, but they're definitely mini brushes. We're just talking about the length of the handle. The bristles are the same size as the full-size brush. And the crease one, also very soft and very nice crease brush. Then we get the shadow brush. This one is very nice. It's a tiny bit smaller than the one in the regular set. Let's see, this one is a tiny bit smaller. I actually don't mind it. I think it's a perfect size. Now this is the smudge brush, and this one is very different from what we got in the regular set. And a liner brush. I did want to say it at the end of the video, but I'm just gonna say it now. I really look forward to those brushes every year. And the main reason is I love the liner brushes. Their liner brushes are amazing. But this year I'm very disappointed because they're not dual-ended and you don't have the brush. And to me it's very disappointing, especially in 2022. Nobody buys those brow brushes separate. Obviously we just want to have a normal dual-ended brush so we could do our brows with it. And both sets, none of them have, not the mini, not the regulars. This is it. Let's just hope that the brushes are going to perform well. And I'm going to be applying my makeup for those of you who would like to see how those brushes perform. I applied my eye primer using this concealer brush, and I set it with a powder using the crease brush from the mini set. And this is such a nice brush. You don't even feel it on your eyes when you use it. It's like feathers. I really like how that feels a lot. I'm going to keep the look very simple today because I want to mainly focus on the brushes. I'm going to be using my BH Cosmetic Bronze Paradise palette. Using the crease brush, I'm going into this cooler tone brown right here and applying it in my crease. It's a very pigmented shade. I'm actually also going to apply it all over my lid. Going to do the same on the other side. I'm gonna go in with a mini crease brush that I used to set my eyes, and I'm just gonna go over it again. Using the shadow brush, the lid brush, I'm gonna go into this shade right here. This is a highlighter, but I love it on the eyes. This is a very nice brush. It's a nice size, and it also feels very nice on the lids. I am going to use the one now from the mini set. It's a bit smaller, and I'm going to wear it just to intensify the look a little bit. I'm going to use MAC Fix Plus, and because it's a tiny bit smaller, easier to get into the inner corner. I'm gonna go in with this mini liner brush, and I'm going to highlight my brow bone using this Reserve Your Venom. I'm going to apply mascara, and I will be right back. I applied mascara and I prepped and primed my face. And I'm going to apply Revlon Color Stay Foundation. This is in the shade 180. Very nice brush. It feels amazing on the skin. It buffs everything in beautifully. Apply a tiny bit more foundation where needed. I cannot get over the softness of this brush. It's truly, truly amazing. Apply the foundation. Absolutely stunning. Really, really stunning. For concealer, I'm going to be using e.l.f. 16 Hour Camo Concealer. And this one is a bit too light for me, so I mix it with Catrice Prime and Fine Transformer drops. I just put some concealer in my hand and you could see that it's very, very light. This foundation is a bit deep for me. This is my summer shade. I'm just finishing this foundation up. It's almost done. I'm going with a small buffing brush and let's see if we could buff the concealer with it. On the face, it's working beautifully. I'm going to try it under my eyes. I don't usually use concealer brushes. I prefer a sponge, but let's see. Yeah, it's doing a beautiful job. Back into the Wet n Wild powder, I'm gonna set under my eyes and I'm gonna use the same brush. It's very soft. I'm going to use it. Using this powder brush, I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent Powder, and I'm going to set my face. We've got a good amount of powder. I'm going to start with my forehead. It's actually not so bad because I thought it was very small, but it's pretty decent. I'm going to do my brows using this brush right here. Again, I am very disappointed that it doesn't have a brush on the other end. I'm just going to use the back of my brow pencil. I'm going to use the Benefit My Brow. I'm going to use MAC in Extreme Dimension Lash Deluxe Size Mascara, and I'm going to use it on my lower lashes. I'm going back into the palette, and I want to try the smudge brushes, and I'm going to use this small smudge brush from the eye set. I'm going back into the shade that I used and I'm going to apply it under my lower lashes. It's a very nice small brush. I really like it. Now just to see, I'm going into this smudge brush from the mini set. It's a clean brush. I did not dip it into the shadow. I'm just gonna go over this area with a clean brush. Both brushes are very nice, and let's do the same under the other eye. And again, going over it with this smudge brush. They're both different, but they're both very nice. Soft, small, precise. I'm gonna go into the Chocolate Soleil bronzer, and I'm gonna use the same powder brush, and we're going to apply the bronzer. I thought, as I mentioned before, that this brush would be too small to set the whole face, but it worked beautifully. It worked just fine. It's a perfect shape for a bronzer. Using the angled blush brush, I'm going to be applying this blush Fred Boy by the Balm. It is so nice. I'm gonna use the same powder brush because it's on the smaller side. I'm gonna go into my e.l.f. highlighter. Not an intense highlighter, it just gives it a very nice glow. I could see some glow. I'm going to be using NYX lip liner in Nectar. And I'm going to be using Rimmel Kate lipstick in the shade 17. It's a bright lipstick for me. I don't usually wear bright lips. I try to stick to nudes. I just enjoy it more, but sometimes I just want something different for a change. Anyway, let's go over the brushes now. We're gonna start with a mini brush set. I do think that if you want to put it in your purse, or if you need a touch-up brush on the go, or for travel, it's very convenient because even though they're shorter and smaller, the bristles are regular size and they're very nice and soft brushes. I don't want to take your time and go over everything again. You've seen me use them and the quality is really good on those. Same thing goes for those brushes. The only brush that I haven't used was the smaller crease brush, but they're all very nice and very soft, amazing quality. However, unfortunately, I'm very disappointed with this liner brush. As I said before, I look forward to this brush every year. Usually their brushes are identical to the ABH brush. They're just like perfect thin, the density is perfect, and you get this pulley. They're just beautiful, beautiful brushes. I don't know what happened this year. I don't know why they decided not to do it. Very, very strange. I don't understand it. I think that this is a must-have brush for everybody when you fill in your brows, unless you're of course using a pencil, but for me it's a go-to brush, and it's just a bummer that they usually include it, that it's an amazing quality, and this year they just didn't. So a bit disappointed about that. As for the face brushes, love them all. Let's start with that smaller one. It's a concealer brush. If you use that kind of brushes for concealers, then good for you. But if you don't, well, today I used it to apply my eye primer, but in general, I love those thin, firmer brushes to apply a shimmer shadow. Then the foundation brush. Amazing, loved it. I did not have to touch up with a sponge, which is great because sometimes I use some brushes and I would feel like it just didn't blend it well, so I would have to touch up, and I didn't, and I do like how my skin looks. Love the density, love the size, just really enjoyed this brush a lot. Next, buffing brush. I also really, really like. This is a mini foundation brush. I used it to buff out the concealer, some concealer on the nose, some around the nose, some on my chin, and some in my T-zone. It blended it in really nice. I also used it to set the powder under my eyes because it is very, very soft. I do like it a lot. Another thing is if you contour, I said it would also be great for contouring. A very nice and small multitasking brush. An angled blush brush. This one is a very nice, very soft brush as well. And the powder brush. So first I was just a bit disappointed. I'm like, where's the larger brushes that they usually come out with? A bit larger. It was never a very big size, but you know, a bit bigger. But honestly, I didn't mind it at all because you could use this brush for everything. It is so soft and flexible. You could use it for setting under your eyes. It's very easy to get into your T-zone with that, around your nose. Because it is smaller, it did take me a bit longer to set the face. Also works perfectly for the bronzer, especially those of us that don't have a very large forehead. Sometimes we look for smaller brushes. As I mentioned in my previous brush review, I reviewed a holiday set from Tarte. They had a very nice powder brush there as well. It was pinched here in the middle, and I was just saying how I love that shape for bronzer. This is rounded and it's totally different, but because it's smaller, it also applied everything very nicely. And because it's not very dense, it just gives you a nice wash of color. I feel like I did so much with this brush, from powder, bronzer. You use it for any powders that you need to around the face. So another thing that I wanted to mention about those two sets, I'm not going to bring a mini set into this already, just going to talk about those two sets. I don't understand why they came out with two separate sets. It does come out to be more expensive. This was 46 Canadian for me, and this one was 33. So a total of $79 before tax. Usually it's cheaper. Usually I think you get a bit less brushes. I think you have like 3 or 4 face brushes instead of 5. But the whole set is usually, one set is usually cheaper than 2. Another thing is, even though they do look a bit similar, the ferrules are a bit similar, but they're different colors. If I'm using a face and eye set together and it's one set, I would like the handles to be the same color. I don't know if I'm the only one, maybe people don't care about that, but I just find like if it's a set, I would like it to be the same. Anyway, it is what it is. They're still nice, they're still beautiful. I do hope that next year they will do a normal dual-ended brow brush. I'll be looking forward. Otherwise, it's a great quality. They're very soft as always. And I hope this review was helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Have a great day, and I will see you again in my next video.